Hi, this is Robert with Thorn Technologies, here with a StorageLink video. Today I will be covering SSL redirects and Nginx configuration. So for StorageLink, StorageLink is like a Dropbox drag and drop web uploader to your cloud storage that you can host within your own cloud environment. Amazon, Azure, Google Cloud, you host StorageLink within your own cloud provider, so you have full control and ownership of all your files. So since your end users are going to be connecting via the web, you want to make sure that the user experience is as smooth as possible for your users. So there are some hurdles that you might run into when you first set up StorageLink. So, for example, if I could demonstrate real quick, if I were to go to my IP address for StorageLink, if I were to paste the IP address into the location bar, it would actually take me to this landing page. And this landing page is here because I am reaching this on port 80 via HTTP. And here we have instructions. If you want to go to HTTPS, where the application actually resides, you could click here, and then it'll take you to HTTPS. This is kind of helpful for sysadmins setting this up for the first time. You would just click here, and then it would take you to HTTPS. You would click through any SSL warnings in order to reach this page. That's what the landing page gives you instructions for. But for your end users, what you want to do is you want them to paste in, your host name, and you want them to automatically reach HTTPS even though they did not specify that. You also want to fix this cert so that it is a valid cert. So you're going to have to install an SSL cert for your hostname. And also something that is somewhat common is if you have multiple host names. So for example, here's our test domain, sftpgw.cloud. I'm going to create a hostname thorntech.sftpgw.cloud. And, our company is Thorn Technologies. So, let's say that some people are trying to reach thorntechnologies.sftpgw.cloud, and they might not be sure which one they should be going to. So how I'm going to set this up is I'm going to configure my server, same IP address. I'm going to configure it such that anyone who lands here will automatically get redirected here. And then anyone who reaches us via HTTP, we're also going to funnel them to the HTTPS address for this. So these are like the steps that I'm going to follow in this demo. The end goal is we should have all four of these URLs, HTTP versus HTTPS, and this host name and that host name. Everything should funnel into HTTPS thorntech.sftpgw.cloud. Okay, so here are the instructions. Just to give you like an overview of what we're going to do. First, we're going to configure a valid SSL certificate for the domain that we're interested in. Because we're also listening on this, and someone could come in via HTTP or HTTPS, If they come in via HTTPS, we need a valid SSL cert, even though they're going to be there for like half a second. So we actually have to configure valid SSL for this other domain, thorntechnologies.sftpgw.cloud. And then after that, we want to redirect, HTTP to HTTPS on both domains. And then finally, the last step is we want to redirect, should be the other way around. We want to redirect Thorn Technologies to point to Thorn Tech so that everything funnels here. Okay, so that's enough explanation. So I'm going to run through this outline step by step, and then let's see how it goes. So first off, I spun up a test instance of StorageLink, and this is just a brand new deployment of this server. I have these DNS records in place, so both of these domains point to the public IP address on this instance. To prove that, I can go here and perform an NS lookup on this domain, and it points to my IP, and then NS lookup on this domain, also this IP. So the DNS records are in place. Now that we have these requirements out of the way, next I want to set up the SSL cert for my first domain. So this is done via the command line. So I need to SSH into the VM. So here I've got, well, sort of timed out. I'm going to reconnect. Okay, so I'm connected to the server. And then before I do anything, I'm just going to sudo to root. This is not the best practice, but just for the sake of the demo, it's going to be easier this way. And then I am going to configure the server name in my Nginx configuration files. So if I cd to /etc/Nginx, there's two folders here, sites enabled and sites available. If I do a long listing on sites enabled, there is a soft link to sites available, and then this website.conf. So the actual file lives in sites available. So I'm going to cd to sites available, and then we have this website.conf. What I'm going to do to make things easier to follow, more organized, is I'm going to rename website.conf to thorntech.conf. So this is going to be for the thorntech domain. And then if I edit this thorntech.conf file, I'm going to use vi. There are, in this file, there are two server blocks. One is a server block for port 80 up here. Ooh. Okay, server block for port 80, and then down here a second server block for port 443. So within each server block there's a server name directive. I'm just going to edit this. So right now it is underscore. Underscore is a wildcard saying I'm listening on port 80 for any host name. It doesn't matter. what I'm going to do is I'm going to constrain this to only filter on the specific server name I'm interested in, which is thorntech.sftpgw.cloud. So you would paste your hostname here, and then I would do the same down here in the 443 block. Okay, save and quit, :WQ. And then next, I'm just changing a conf file. This is just a text file. It doesn't make any impact. There's no impact on anything. It's just a text change until I restart Nginx and Nginx rereads the conf file. So to restart Nginx, you do service Nginx restart, but with Nginx, instead of just restarting the service, there's something special you could do instead, or before. You could do Nginx-T. This is -T is a config test because people are always making configuration changes in Nginx. You want to test your syntax first. Okay, so it's saying open website.conf, no such file directory. So if I take a look at etc nginx nginx.conf, and I look at line 62, it's saying include sites enabled. So before, when I told you that the real conf file is within sites available, before this was called website.conf and we renamed it to thorntech.conf. If we go back, there's sites available, but then there's also sites enabled. Let's say if you have like 5 conf files in here, sites available, but you only want to enable 2 of them, you would symlink or softlink them here. So if we go into sites enabled, this website.conf softlink is expecting this file to be here, but we renamed it, so we kind of broke this link. So what we need to do is we need to create a softlink pointing to our new file, which is thorntech.conf. So this is the new softlink. And then this one, the softlink which we broke, or which I broke, I'm just going to remove it. rm-f website.conf. Okay, so what the config test was complaining about was that this enabled site, the softlink, no longer exists, and so I just updated that. So now if I run nginx-t, it says the config test is successful. So now that the config test is successful, I'm going to run this command. So what it's going to do is it's going to run nginx config test. If it passes, and only if it passes, it'll run config test, and then it'll restart nginx. But if this fails, then this does not happen. So I'm going to run this, and it restarted nginx because the config test passed. So now, now that our nginx configuration has been updated, we can proceed. So the reason why I configured the server name is because this is a prerequisite for running Let's Encrypt's certbot. Certbot requires that you have the server name populated, which we did here. Certbot will also perform domain validation. So the Certbot servers are going to hit my VM on port 80. So right now I have the ports on my VM restricted because this is my first time setup. I don't want it open to the world or anything, and so the web ports are only open to my office IP. So in order to allow Certbot to reach me, I have to temporarily open up port 80 to the world. So let's try and do that. And then under network settings, and then network security group, and then if I go to inbound security rules, this is the security rule allowing my IP in. I'm also going to add another rule that allows anyone ingress over port 80. Okay, so right now it's allowing anyone to access port 80. Okay, so this step is done. So I could finally run the certbot command on the server. So if I type in certbot, so it's going to say enter email address. It's used for urgent renewal security notices. In general, it's good to have a valid email address here. So put in your own email address, not ours. Read the terms, that's fine, yes. Would you like to share your email? No thanks. Okay, so certbot is intelligent enough to read our Nginx conf files, and so this is showing up. So I want to get a cert for this domain, so I'm going to hit number 1. So right now it is requesting a certificate and performing some kind of domain validation. And then it looks like it's done. It made changes to my Nginx conf. And then I think it might have restarted Nginx to apply the changes. So technically what I could do at this point is I can copy and paste this into my web browser, and then the SSL cert error that I had before will go away if I come in under this hostname, because now we have a let's encrypt cert. Okay, so we tested this. This is working. Now we need to rinse and repeat for the second hostname. So if we go back here, so in Etsy Nginx, if we go into sites available, we have a thorntech.conf. I'm going to copy this into thorntechnologies.conf. Okay, I'm copying thorntech.conf to thorntechnologies.conf. So we got 2 files that are the same. Now, if I were to run an nginx-t here, we're going to run into all sorts, well, I guess it's fine. We would run into all sorts of problems. So as I mentioned before, only the sites enabled sites are being taken into account. So this guy is actually not wired as being enabled because we have no symlink for it. So if we go into sites enabled, we can enable the Thorn Technologies comp file here, soft link, and then technologies.conf, and then the shortcut name is going to be thorntechnologies.conf. So ln-s, the real path, and then the shortcut path. So we got two soft links here, meaning that both of these sites are enabled. So if I run an Nginx-t, I expect that we should actually run into a whole bunch of problems. So the first problem is that we have a log format issue, but there's also additional problems. So if I go back into sites available, so if I edit thorntechnologies.conf, first of all, we've got the server name. The server name is incorrect. This is the thorntechnologies.conf file, but the server name says thorntech. So first we want to fix this and have it say thorntechnologies, and then this is for the port 80 server block, and then if we go down here to the 443 server block, there should be a second server name that we need to update. So instead of thorntech, we want thorntechnologies. So save and quit. And then when we ran the Nginx-t before, it's complaining about a duplicate log format. And what's happening here is, let's say if I do a VI on thorntechnologies.conf, in between these server blocks, we've got this log format right here. And this log format is actually required because we're referencing it from within the server block. So this has to exist. But because we copy pasted this file, this log format exists outside the server block in both files. And so this log format is conflicting between the two files because they're copies of each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this and actually make a third copy of it, not the file, but a copy of the syntax within etc nginx, and then there's the main nginx.conf file. So I'm going to edit nginx.conf, and then in here there's the structure of this you don't see server blocks, you see an HTTP block. And then that's about it. So within this HTTP block, we're going to, you could go down to like the logging settings, I guess, keep everything near each other, and just paste that log format here. Save and quit. And now that that log format user combine or with combine or whatever is in the main nginx.conf file, we no longer need it within the individual ones. So if we cd into sites available, and then if I edit thorntechnologies.conf, I could actually delete this log format with user combined because it exists in the main nginx.conf. So I'm going to delete it with dd colon wq to save and quit. And then I'm going to do the same with thorntech.conf. And then it's between the server blocks, this log format. So I'm going to delete this. So dd colon wq. Okay, so there should no longer be a log format conflict because we pulled into the parent that configuration. So if we do nginx-t, the config test is okay. So now we could do nginx-t and then service nginx restart. Okay. So we copied the nginx comp file to basically create this guy. We put in the server name, we moved the log format. So let's go ahead and run Let's Encrypt on this one. So let's type certbot, and then it shows up as number 2. So it's not going to ask for my email a second time. It's requesting the certificate, it's deploying the certificate, and maybe applying it by bouncing Nginx. So at this point, if I copy this and paste it into a new tab, the SSL certificate should be valid. So here, Thorntech is the SSL is valid. Thorn Technologies, the SSL is valid. So this section is now done. Next, we want to do like an HTTPS redirect for Thorntech. So if I were to go to, and then I paste in the hostname. So this actually redirects to HTTPS. And then if I go here to Thorn Technologies, let's try that. Okay, if I have HTTP followed by the hostname, the redirect is there. So let's take a look at the Nginx configuration for both of these guys. So if I vi thorntech.conf, and then if I go to the port 80 server block, there is actually a 301 redirect. If someone comes in on port 80 HTTP to my hostname, it will blanket redirect everything to HTTPS, same hostname. So since this is happening, the rest of this is irrelevant. So just to clean things up, I'm going to delete all this. So delete. Okay. And then same thing with thorntechnologies.conf. Again, server block port 80, server block 80. If anything comes in on Thorn Technologies for HTTP, it will redirect to HTTPS, same hostname. So all of this is irrelevant. And now you might be wondering, okay, what is this? What's going on here? So this Thorn Technologies conf file was copy pasted from the ThornTech conf file. So this was sort of just baggage that came with. Certbot injected this, but it didn't. It just left this alone. This is not going to hit because we're listening only on this hostname. So users will never come in on this hostname. So this here is really dead code. So just so it's easier to reason about what's going on, these are the relevant lines of code for the blanket redirect. So I'm going to :WQ, save and quit. And then if I do Nginx -t service Nginx restart, the configuration is okay. And then if I, just to make sure that things still work, let's do HTTP for this guy. And then it goes to HTTPS. My internet's slow, so it's going to take a while to load. And then this one as well, HTTP for Thorn Technologies. And then it should go to, just reload this. It should go to HTTPS because there's a valid SSL cert. Okay, so now we've got the HTTP to HTTPS redirects for both host names. Now we want to redirect Thorn Technologies to ThornTech, just so everyone is being funneled into just one site, this one, or, you know, of these 4 URL combinations, everyone should funnel into here. So let's go back into these conf files. So since we want everyone to end up here, we want to put the redirects in here so that they point to this hostname. So let's update this conf file, Thorn Technologies. Okay, so what we have here is a 301 redirect. If anyone comes in to Thorn Technologies on HTTP, we want to redirect to Thorn Technologies, whatever, that's fine. We want to redirect to the same host, but we actually don't want to redirect here. We want to redirect to ThornTech. So we could have them jump straight to ThornTech by removing the host variable. So the variable is like $host. Let's get rid of the dollar and the host, and then replace it with thorntech.com. This part here is a variable, the request URI. So this is a variable that might be like /admin or /index.html or whatever. This is just going to like retain whatever /whatever that's tacked onto the end. It'll retain that. So we've got this redirect for port 80. Also, if people are coming in on port 443, we want them to also redirect. So let's go ahead and copy this guy, and let's paste it on the bottom here. So anyone coming in on Thorn Technologies, we're just going to blanket redirect them to HTTPS ThornTech. And there's a whole bunch of stuff here that we can delete. So there are things that we need to keep, and there are things that we need to delete. So first of all, the things we need to keep, we need the listen directive because we're listening on port 443. Access logs, we could keep that. All the, this is SSL, all the SSL stuff we could keep. That's fine. Proxy buffering, probably don't need. So if I do dd, and then this whole location backend, we could get rid of any location statements. So if I do dd 30 times, 20 times, so if I do 20dd, and then keep hitting dd, okay, and then let's delete these 3 lines with 3dd, okay. Index page, that's fine. Oh, the root, we could get rid of the root. Rewrite, let's get rid of that. This is the default index page. We could get rid of it or keep it, whatever. All right, I think this is clean enough. So the 443, it's just going to have the SSL information pointing to the valid SSL certs. And we got the blanket redirect here. So let's save and quit. And then let's do nginx-t. That's fine. Let's apply it. Service, nginx restart. And then if we were to go to http Thorn Technologies, and then let's do / like ABCDEFG. Thorn Tech. So that's interesting. If I edit this file, I kept talking about thorntech.com. We're using our test domain sftpgw.cloud. So I put in the wrong URL here. It should be thorntech.sftpgw.cloud. And then we are redirecting to Thorntech, not to thorntech.com, but to sftpgw.cloud. Okay, so the configuration worked. I just put in the wrong information. And then if I rerun nginx restart, so if I copy this, and then if I go to http Thorn Technologies / HIJKLMNOP, it goes to thorntech.sftpgw.cloud, and then whatever I have after that gets retained. So the Thorn Technologies redirect to Thorn Tech is working. And then for Thorn Tech, we don't need to do anything because we already got HTTP going to HTTPS. So let's just go ahead and do like a full validation test. So if I copy this here, and then let's do test 001. It's HTTP should go to HTTPS. And then it's got the 001 at the end. So this is HTTPS. So this guy's good. This is already at HTTPS. So it's not actually redirecting. We're just going straight here. Cert is fine. And then we're going to do the HTTP Thorn Technologies 003. And it redirects to HTTPS, Thorn Tech, sftpgw.cloud. Finally, HTTPS, Thorn Technologies 004. It should redirect also to HTTPS, Thorn Tech. So, to, I guess, belaboring the point, everything should be funneling into this URL. So, Just to recap, what we did was on a test instance of StorageLink, we've got two different host names. We want to perform redirects. We want to redirect this one to point to this one. We want to slap SSL certs on both domains. We want to redirect port 80 to 443 for both. And then we want to point Thorn Technologies, anything landing on this domain, to point to Thorn Tech. So somewhere along the way, you might have run into some issues troubleshooting-wise. So let me just give you an overview of what the final conf files look like. So starting with /etc nginx, there is one file that we touch, nginx.conf. So if I do vi nginx.conf, we didn't make any changes except within the HTTP block. We added this log format thing here. And then I just put it underneath these other log statements. And this was taken from the other comp files. And then within sites enabled, these are the sites that are turned on. We've got two symlinks, one pointing to Thorn Tech, the other one pointing to Thorn Technologies. And then in sites available, we've got two files, one for Thorn Tech. So if I do vi on Thorn Tech, I go to the top. This is what the server block 80 looks like. We've got a redirect going straight to, actually no. We just have a redirect going to the same hostname because this is where we want to end up. And then the port 443 stuff, this has all of the logic, which is fine. That's what we want. And we've got the server name here. And then if I look at the thorntechnologies.conf, go to the top. In this server block, port 80, we are redirecting straight to the final URL with HTTPS. And then with 443, we ripped out a lot of the logic because at the end of the day, we're just performing a blanket redirect straight to the HTTPS version of the domain we want to end up in. Okay, thanks for watching to the end. I hope this was useful. And if you have any issues configuring Nginx, feel free to reach out. And thanks for watching.